Hi, everyone. Welcome to our week 7 lecture. And I'm very happy again to be with you all for this week. It's exciting because we have 2 weeks left this week and the next, and that's it. And then you're off the hook with me. Okay? So this week is kind of a really neat and interesting exercise that we have for this week. And I think it's going to be very beneficial. I think it's going to be self-rewarding and maybe even enlightening for some of you when you do this exercise because it has all to do with image management and it has all to do with information management, which is so important in today's social media driven world, right? And so as we are entering into the labor force, maybe trying to find that dream job, trying to get that promotion or make a career change, whatever the case may be, it becomes so important for us at this stage to manage our image. And it's not just important for us personally, but also professionally because employers are looking for social media to get a glimpse of who they are going to be hiring. So, the lines between public and private are blurred today. And, I had excuse me, I had an employer at Virginia Tech, when I was a graduate student, who said to me, well, he said to us, the graduate students who used to work in his office, he said, if you don't want me to know about it, don't post it on the internet. Don't make it public. Because once you post it on the internet, chances are it's going to become public. So be careful with what you post, right? And so I always kind of kept those words in the back of my mind as now that I'm a little older and wiser. But it's kind of it struck a chord, and it's remained with me. And I, in fact, made a decision, I think an important decision for me last year. It was one of my New Year's resolutions was to leave Facebook. Now, I'm not encouraging or suggesting that you leave Facebook. If you want to stay in Facebook, and that's fine. If every person has a right to do whatever they want. I thought it was a personal decision for me. I thought it was an important decision. First, because it was creating a situation where I was not becoming the person that I wanted to be. I was wasting time, but more importantly, I was not. I don't think I was living my purpose. I don't think I was being the person that I think God wants me to be. And I was letting the influence of others, right, and other forces dictate my life and dictate my reaction to things and how I would see the world and begin to view the world. And I didn't like it. And I thought that it was important for me to make that decision. And I find myself much happier. So again, not to suggest that you should leave it or not. In fact, it's useful because it allows us to communicate. It allows us, especially when we have family members in different parts of the world, who can see us and share pictures and stories and such, and that's great. But it did become vitriolious for me. It became something that was affecting me emotionally and spiritually, and I just was not happy with the type of person that I was becoming or transforming in Facebook. So again, that's not so much the idea for this week's presentation, but it's it also has to do with managing our image, how others are going to perceive us, and how others perceive us when they look for us on the other side of the online virtual environment. Okay, before that though, I wanted to just shout out and say you're doing a fantastic job, a great job. I'm enjoying very much this class. I'm enjoying your presentations. It's really special to get a chance to hear students share their intimate stories, right? Their trials, their challenges, their how they got to where they are now. You know, that's opening up to somebody, and that's trusting me, and I really appreciate, and I think that it's important that we open up sometimes and be honest with ourselves and share with somebody some of these things, whether good or bad, that have gotten us to where we are, because it's almost like an exercise in self-reflection. Maybe a little bit of a pat on the back. Sometimes it's important to say, you know what, I deserve to be where I am. I have worked hard. I was in a bad situation, and I turned my life around. So it's good to take a moment to say, good for you. But it's also good to realize that things haven't come for free, and they haven't been easy. And so all that sacrifice is now bearing fruit, and that's also important. So I really appreciate your honesty, your openness, and for sharing all those great stories with me, especially this last week. So thank you very much, and I wanted to commend you on your effort. All right, so this week's presentation, or this week's lecture, I'm sorry. So let me ask you, do you post everything online? Okay. I got this idea from a colleague. This don't post and pray, right? What does this idea mean? Well, it's almost like sometimes we post things and then we pray that the person or the persons that are perceiving that and receiving that message are going to receive it in the right spirit and in the right way. They're going to interpret it in the right way. And the more we post online and the less of a filter and the less of control we have for the things we post, the greater the chances that we are going to at some point post something that we're not going to be able to control as far as the message, okay? And so the question is, do you post everything online? And if you do that, if you're one of those persons that just has this need to post everything about your life online, then you might want to rethink that, okay? Because there are some things that perhaps should remain personal or private, and there are things that others will not interpret in the same way that you are intending those things to be interpreted. And so you're going to have misconceptions, misconstrued messages, right? Which for potential employers, it may be harmful. It may at times cause you to not get a position, or to not be considered, or to be reprimanded by an employer. Okay, so what has been the outcome of posting online for you? Have you for some it might be okay, because you might have a really good control of the things that you post. Maybe you limit it to certain things, maybe travel, maybe a gathering, right? But there are some people that almost have this addiction of posting every little thing that they do in their lives and during their day online, and so it can be potentially detrimental. Also, you also don't want to create the persona, create the image of somebody that is needing reaffirmation from the online world for everything that you do, right? Because remember that we are supposed to be leaders, and leaders have conviction and integrity and strength. Leaders don't require others to affirm to them that they are good enough, that they are great, that they are capable. And so when you post and almost demand or require these likes and the positive reaffirmation, it sends off a different message. It sends off the wrong message to potential employers and other folks out there that you might be one of these people that perhaps lacks self-worth or conviction or integrity or strength. And these are not the qualities that you want employers thinking that characterize you, right? So keep that in mind. As I said, I was inspired by my colleague's presentation on this, and one of the books that he recommended for me and for others and for everybody is this book by Dale Carnegie. And maybe some of you have read it, and the book is great. It's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Okay, and it's a book on leadership, because leadership is synonymous with influence. If there's one word to describe leadership, it's influence. And so, am I correctly influencing people? Okay, do I have the ability to influence people? How do I influence people? Okay, so this would be a great book that you might want to read if you have some time, that can perhaps give you a little bit of intuition, insight as to what should be out there, how you should be using social media to promote yourself online. Okay, keep it professional. Keep it professional. Keep it fun, but keep it professional. Okay, so if you can find that balance, that correct balance, I think that's the right way to go. So I would encourage you to read this book if you have some free time. All right, so we have, for this week, we have an assignment, a couple of assignment, right? An assignment, and it's the digital footprint assignment. Okay, and the idea here is to become kind of a private investigator. Okay, and you are going to Google yourself in incognito mode. Okay, so you're incognito, and it's almost like you're trying to find information about somebody. All right, so you might want to go and in incognito mode, go to Instagram, if you have Instagram, if you have LinkedIn, all right, or YouTube, if you have a YouTube channel, or Twitter, which a lot of people use, and then of course the one that many folks use, and that's Facebook. All right, and the idea here is to become somebody else. It's almost like out of body, right? Where you're going to be examining yourself. What are people seeing of me? What is the image that I'm giving out? And you have to be very critical here, okay? Very critical. What if I was somebody else? If I was an employer, what messages would I be sending out with my Instagram, Facebook, etc.? Okay. Another source that you might want to look for to check out yourself, or check out about yourself, is this, for example, People Finders. Okay. So what can I find about myself in this People Finder? What has this algorithm captured about me, and what kind of a profile do I have online? And at times, there was one time, there's this person that has my name and my last name, and I'm talking about myself here, and this person is a relative of mine, but he is not me. And he was involved in a legal situation, and folks were confusing me for that person, because he has my name and he has my last name, but he also has another name before that name. So his name is really not my name. It's just that his middle name is my name. But the internet doesn't always know that. And so the algorithms will catch certain words and certain phrases and certain pieces of information, and they will simply bundle you in there. And so if you type my name, if my, Gabriel Telleria, you're going to get this other person too. And it has nothing to do with me, but some folks might say, wait a minute, what's this guy doing here? And anything that's not necessarily good or under a positive light, it's not something that you want to have close to you or related to you. And that's the problem with the internet, that you can't control how these algorithms profile you, right? And so check out yourself and see how you are being profiled. And the idea in all of this is, what can I do to kind of fix or clean up my profile, right? You can also go to this government page, right, and see if there's anything that has to do with property or unclaimed property page, for example, or anything that's legal, financial, fiduciary. Okay, all right. You might want to go and check yourself there. Again, it may turn out to have 0 hits, which is what you really want. If you don't have anything to do with any of these different sites, right? You should get 0 hits, and that's really what you want. You want to have 0 hits for things that you have not done or engaged in your lives. But if, for example, there's something in there that is part of identity fraud, and that's a very common thing these days, then that's something that you want to control. That's something that you want to see, right? If there's a check that was written on your behalf by somebody else, and that's fake, it's fraudulent, or whatever the case may be. Somebody may be trying to use your identity to get a loan, all right? I mean, there's so many things that could be out there, and you certainly want to protect yourself, your image, your person. You want to protect that. So that yet another site that you might want to check out. All right, so all of this is part of this week's assignment. And when you do all of that investigation, for the My Digital Footprint assignment, you are going to write a paper, right? The paper should be 3 pages. It should be a reflection, okay? And the paper should include or address, for example, the questions: what came up in your Google search? Was there anything unexpected, right? Because when you Google yourself, you can expect some things. For example, I can expect to have my dissertation come out there. I can expect maybe to have my master's work come out there. I can expect to have some of my articles, my peer-reviewed works in there, maybe a picture of me, etc. Those things that you can expect. But if there are some things in there that you did not expect, then you might want to check those things out. What came up in your SPOCO or People Finder search? Was there anything unexpected there? Okay. Did you find photos or other postings out there in social media that you want to restrict in the future? So certain things that you that are part of the World Wide Web, right? They're part of the internet, but you want to make sure that those pictures are not available to everybody. Maybe they're private pictures. Maybe they're intimate pictures with family. You don't want to have pictures that are private family stuff just at the access of every single person, right? You want to protect your identity, your privacy. Now, for professional advancement, is there anything different you may want to do in the future regarding your online presence? And this is where it really, the rubber hits the road. What is the image that an employer is seeing? Because again, when you apply for a job, the employer, potential employers, will look you up. They will Google you. They will see what you are about. Okay, and so if you don't want if there's something you don't want them to see, you need to take it off of those social media sites, because once they're there, the private public realm is blurred. And even this argument, I know there's this whole argument about whether social media companies have the right to cancel or restrict or even ban somebody from using their sites, and there's this whole argument that these sites are private companies and so they reserve the right. Well, guess what? That's absolutely false. They are private companies, sure, but so are restaurants, and so are public places, right? Like restaurants or bars or cafes and movie theaters. But you can't discriminate somebody from those places just simply because you choose to, because of the way they look, because of the philosophy that they promote, or because they are left, right, or center, or because they are black, brown, okay, or because of faith. Whatever it is, you cannot discriminate against that, even if those are private places. And the reason you can't do that has to do with the very important Civil Rights Act of 1964, okay, where basically it said that the private sector or private citizens cannot discriminate against people, not just the state. So these sites, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, while they are private companies, they are quasi-public spheres. It's almost like they are public places. And as public places, they fall within the realm of public places, just like a restaurant would. And so discriminating somebody on without a justification would constitute a violation of that person's rights, okay? So, but coming back to the assignment, is there anything that you may want to do to change your professional presence, right? Should you change your tone? Should your delivery be different? Should you be focusing on skills and strengths instead of talking and spending too much time, say, on politics, right? I know politics is the important thing these days, and everybody's all excited about it, and some people are happy, unhappy, and it seems to be what is really dominating the media. But maybe employers don't want to hear that. Maybe employers don't want to see that. They want to hear more about what you bring to the table, what you bring to the job that they will they would like to access, that they would like to tap into, and how you can make them better, how you can add value to the organization. So focus on that and less on other things that may be what's the word? Polemic, right? You don't want to get into discussions of politics and other things that are only going to reduce chances, so to speak, for getting employed. All right. All right. What is one resource or website or platform you would recommend people when they are doing housekeeping for their image? Right. So you base on your incognito, on your investigative assignment. What would you recommend to a friend, for example? Did you find any hidden treasure for the unclaimed property site? And again, you don't need to say any of that, but most times than not, you're not going to find anything, but you never know, okay? And then lastly, what was one thing you now know about your internet footprint you didn't know before, okay? There might be a revelation that maybe you didn't know that you were being searched in Australia, okay, or in Latin America, or in Asia, or that you were being looked at by employers in the private sector, or certain employers in Northern California. Maybe you live in Southern California. So What did you find out about your internet footprint that you didn't know before that now you know? And this is important because knowing, as G.I. Joe, as G.I. Joe would always say, knowing is half the battle, right? Well, knowing is half the battle in the sense that information is power. Information gives us a power to influence, right? And so now that you know how you are being observed and what kind of an image you are portraying, now you can begin to manage that image. And that is power. That's the power of information. Before you knew, you had no idea. But now that you know, what can I do about it to try and focus or refocus my image to where I want it to be? What kind of image do I want employers to receive from me? Is this the right image that I'm portraying right now? And if it's not, I need to do a little bit of management, image management, right? Because we don't want to get to image damage control. That's where you don't want to get. But if you need to get there, then you need to get there and manage your damage now so that it doesn't affect you in the future. Okay? Sharing a little bit of scripture, okay? But the idea here is keep social matters off social media, okay? So, and this is one of the reasons I left Facebook, starting a quarrel is like breaching a dam. So you drop the matter before a dispute breaks out, okay? And this is what happened with Facebook. I found myself without wanting to even, being kind of lured into, and of course you're very emotional and passionate about certain things, and so it ended up in disputes, in quarrels, in situations that I didn't want to be in. Okay. Pleasant words promote instruction. Okay, so let's use our words to motivate, to teach, to inspire, and not to divide, to cause polemic, to engage in harmful or negativity. Okay, let's use our words to inspire, to teach, to really be a servant of the Lord in that way. We preach the gospel, we promote the word of the Lord and the teachings of Christ by the things we say. Words are powerful. Words are important. And images are important. And so it's important that everything that we say, and whether it's written, whether it's visual, whether it's through symbols, that everything is conveying that positive, right meaning, right? So that's what we want. Okay? All right. I hope you enjoyed today's lecture, and I wish you the very best this week. Again, it's a couple more weeks, and then you'll be done with me. And as always, I extend you a wonderful week. Have a great week, and God bless you. Thank you very much.